Good everyone, welcome back. ALTS went wild today, ripped at the pre-market open to a $15 high, then pushing over $20 to only tank massively from $18 to $6.50 on a direct offering. It was the kind of move that can make your whole month if you catch it right, or ruin it if you didn't. I didn't trade ALTS, it was a little on the expensive side for me, but let's take a look at the charts. So I saw ALTS on the scanner when I first opened my software this morning, but too expensive for me, so I didn't trade. IOBT was also on my watch list, and I did see it around this period here, around 7 o'clock. Before 7, I just didn't see anything else that was worth trading. This popped here. I was actually watching, I think I was watching ALTS actually recover from its tank around this time, and I kind of missed this initial push through VWAP on IOBT. So I actually missed this whole front move. Then it pulled back down to around the 9 EMA, did hold that level, but I just wasn't confident enough to get in here for a retest of this pivot here. It did eventually push over that up to $3, around $3.30. So maybe it was a decent entry here around, what's that, $2.75, up for a push through $3 up to, $3.30, $3.20. So I missed that entire move on IOBT. But yeah, it went into a halt around, what time frame was that? That was, 7:54. It went into a halt here, pending news, I think. And then at 8:30, it dumped. It's a bit of a theme of that last night with ALTS and IOBT, both putting in big dumps after pushing up to new highs. So interesting. The stock I did actually trade was WLDS and wearable devices. Okay, so I missed this front part here, and it was pulling back when I first saw it around 20 past 8. And it had pulled back down here and it had recovered. And I thought, well, I'll give it a push. It looks like it's going to push through VWAP, and I thought it was possibly going to come back up here to around 220, and that was sort of my profit target was around 215. 220 was sort of my target zone to take profit. I got in here at 202, just above the 9 EMA as it pushed and broke through VWAP. And it tried to break 209, 210, 3 times, and I didn't sell on the 3rd time. Usually I would give it a couple of times and then I'd sell it, so no, it's not working. I resisted that for some reason and didn't take it off the table when it was obviously rejecting off that level pretty harshly. As you can tell by these topping tails, 3 of them. And then it basically dumped down here, sort of gave a rally, and I should have been out. That's where I should have been out straight away. Stopped out, and I would have been out with a loss of, maybe $3 or $4. But I gave it another chance to see if it would rally. It didn't. It dumped down here. I didn't sell straight away. It did pull up a wee bit and start buying up a bit, so I waited. But I didn't think it was going to push back higher, so I sold there at $1.86. 86 shares, so that was a loss of $13.76. So really should have been out up there earlier when it obviously wasn't breaking through that resistance point there. And even if it came up another try here, it probably wouldn't have broken that. But yeah, should have trusted in my rules about, well, it's the 3rd time it's trying to break that and it doesn't look like it's going to break it, so just get out. cut it while it's still in the green, and then you're at least booking a little bit of profit and not really taking a loss, but that's the way it goes. So that was the trade on WLDS. The stock didn't really do anything after that either. Yeah. Next stock I watched was BJDX. So this stock pushed up here. I saw around 840. I didn't trade it on this side, but it pulled back and into the open. I actually watched it during the open, and it sort of put in a doji candle in the first candle. It was real indecisive which way it was going, and I flicked over to another stock quickly to look at that. I think it was EQ or ENTO. Can't quite remember off the top of my head which one it was. But it was one of the penny stocks anyway that was ripping at the open. I went over to that to have a look at that quickly, and then when I came back to this chart, it had broken through VWAP and actually made the move. So it had pushed up through here, and I came across and it was already kind of pushing up to over $2. So I missed the entry here around 195, 193 for the break back up to 219. I just wasn't sure. Putting these top and tails up here and sold off, back down to VWAP, and I just didn't have the confidence to jump in there to buy back on that support line there on the 9 EMA. Did work though, but then it rolled over pretty much back below VWAP, and then eventually pushed back up to 230, but not a massive move on BJDX. But that was the only other one that I was thinking about trading. The other stocks on the day that were sort of up, EQ, ENTO, those stocks were penny stocks, and I didn't want to, they were outside my strategy, and I'm not very good at trading them. I just don't do well on those lower price stocks. EQ to put in a pretty good move, pushing up over $1, I think up to $1.20. Actually it pushed back up over $1 and after hours as well, looks like. But yeah, so this pushed up from around 50 cents up to $1. I was looking at it around this area here where it was pulling back. Really did think about getting in at 80 cents as it started pushing back up here through VWAP, 85 cents. But I thought, no, it's out of my strategy zone really. But it did make a good push right up to $1.20 and then back up to $1.25. This is the one I watched that was pushing up to $1.25 at the open. And that caused me to miss the trade on BJDX. Being patient and being focused on the right stock is important. And sometimes switching between stocks can mean you miss an opportunity elsewhere. But that's the way it goes. ALTS was the, early on was this, I think was the leading gainer. This stock, I saw at the open of pre-market. I watched the first 5 minutes, watched that push from, sort of started down here around $9, but straight off the bat at the open pre-market, 11.50 up to around 15. Pulled back and then pushed again up to, a high of 18.91. And did put in some good moves. If you traded this right, it could have been a decent day. The bot actually traded this pretty well. I think I can turn that on before I do this. And do that. So yeah, so the bot from put in 8 trades and made a total P&L of $539 on ALTS. And this was the interesting thing. It had shown it's quite strong. It was holding above VWAP. It was doing, put in another solid move up here from 18 to almost 20. And then this. And the company put out news of a direct offering. It came up 10 minutes later on my news feed. So the drop had already happened when I saw the news come out. But obviously, that news had come out and that stock just plummeted. It dumped massively from $18 all the way down to $6.50, I think it was. I'll take it off that. Yeah, so low as $6.58. That was a huge dump. So that would have been, you wouldn't want to be caught in that. Mind you, I don't know if anyone would have held through that whole drop unless they weren't actively trading at the time. But yeah, it did eventually, it did grind back up to about $9.50 during pre-market, and but no, after that, I was interested in watching the bounce and the recovery because it was holding around $8, and I wondered if it would push back to $9. It did eventually, but it's a bit of a grind. But definitely out of my strategy to trade that. Not interested in that at all, trading it. So that was ALTS. So the bot did better than me on that today. So just the one trade today, WLDS, 86 shares, in at 202, out at 186 for a $13.76 loss. Even though I finished in the red, the bot's performance was a huge positive for the day. My goal tomorrow, trade smarter, sharper, and match the discipline the bot shows every session. If you're following along on this journey, hit subscribe and let's see what tomorrow brings. I'll see you then. Hei a popo.